Alrighty, thank you so much for joining us for our weekly KC Development segment. As you can see, we are joined by City Scene KC, Kevin Collison. Kevin, I've seen you twice this week. Yesterday we spoke because Mayor Quinton Lucas, he made a surprise visit to Dallas to talk to the firm there, HP Village Partners, about the future of the plaza. So I do want to just touch on that conversation in just a bit, but the mayor did confirm late last night that he did meet with HP Village Partners. Is that correct?
Definitely. They had actually a fairly long meeting. He said it lasted from roughly 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So they had an opportunity not only to meet with officials with HP Village Partners, but take a look at the actual Highland Park Village Shopping Center, which they own there in Dallas.
And let's kind of give our viewers an update as to what went into that conversation. Like you said, it was a long meeting that they had yesterday, but it was much needed as we look ahead regarding the
Sure.
future of the Country Club Plaza. So what was discussed?
Well, the folks with the Highland Park Village wanted to know a little bit about what the city's plans were for the area. And they also wanted to tell the mayor a little bit about what and they have in mind. And the mayor was actually joined by the city manager and his chief of staff, and also an official with one of the city's development agencies, which certainly telegraphed that there may be some kind of an ask in the way of city tax incentives or other help to do what the folks in Dallas would like to do with the plaza. One of the things that was interesting is they did confirm that we may not close this sale by the end of the year, which originally people had been believing that was going to be the case. The mayor said it may stretch into early 2024, but he certainly gave every indication that everything's on course for HP Village Partners to buy the plaza. The mayor, in fact, said, he was excited about what he heard from those guys. He gave the impression that they told him they want to restore the plaza to the glory days of the 1990s. What was also interesting is they want to look in seriously at adding more housing or adding actually housing to the plaza itself. I mean, all the housing that's been built over the years is around the periphery of the plaza, but the folks in Dallas think there are opportunities to develop multifamily within the plaza bowl, the core of the plaza. They would certainly not be building any high-rise buildings, but they would be buildings in the scale of the plaza, and they might be involved with mixed use, including, we've had that Nordstrom site sitting vacant now for several years. The folks down at HP Village told the mayor they really weren't interested in putting a department store in there like a Nordstrom's or a Dillard's, which had been in discussions with the previous owners of the plaza. But it could be a mixed-use project that would have some retail, maybe office, and residential on top of that. So that was certainly something that we had not heard. They meaning HP Village, told the mayor they weren't really interested in this idea of converting some of the streets in the plaza to purely pedestrian corridors. They do want to maybe introduce some things like pavers, etc., to make the streets feel more pedestrian friendly. And so that's something that, there had been some suggestions from some local folks interested in design that the plaza might benefit from having some streets converted to strictly pedestrian use. That doesn't seem to be in the cards from what the folks in Dallas want.
I want to touch on a few things as you kind of go over the overview regarding that meeting. So I think the biggest takeaway is that the mayor did touch on the fact that this sale may not close by the end of 2023, but we can look ahead to the beginning of 2024. And then also, what I heard from the mayor is that he is excited, like you mentioned, and he said that this was actually the best meeting he's had during his time as mayor in the office. But I want to also ask you this. Obviously, a lot of our viewers and people in the community, their main concern is security. What was said about
Right.
that?
The mayor said that the folks in Dallas intend to beef up the private security side of this and, work with the Kansas City Police Department. Now, we've heard that from other folks, but what the mayor thought was kind of an interesting, the HP Village people have had communication with the police board, or not the police board, it's the police foundation of Kansas City, which is a nonprofit group. I really didn't even know they existed. They've been around for a few years, but it's a nonprofit group that's there to try to support the police department in their work. These guys are active. They've reached out to some of the historic preservationists here in town. They've now talked to this police foundation. They certainly have reached out to the Plaza District Council, which is this group of folks who formed about several months ago to look out for the overall interests of the plaza, much as the downtown council does for downtown. So they've been extremely active, both on a support front with policing and neighborhoods, as well as, inspecting the plaza itself and just seeing how many millions of dollars they're going to have to invest in repairing some of the deferred maintenance down there. It's very obvious that the HP Village Park folks have done their due diligence, or they're doing it. And again, as you said, the mayor said this is some of the most positive communication he's had in a long time. In fact, he mentioned that the entire time the current ownership has had the plaza, he's only had 2 meetings with them. One was a virtual one during the COVID pandemic, and the other was in person. And he's already had a couple of good meetings with the folks in HP Village. So apparently he also had at least some conversations with them here in Kansas City before he and some of the city executives went down to visit Highland Park Village in Dallas.
All right, Kevin, and I do want to take a look at this video that we showed yesterday. Our KCTV5 Gianni Navarro, she went out on the plaza yesterday and actually counted all of the empty buildings there, and she came back with up to 20 vacant buildings currently sitting on the plaza right now. Did the mayor tell you anything as far as what HP Village plans to do? I know they're not looking at a department building, but maybe what else they're looking at as far as bringing in more local shops and other high-end brands.
Well, the mayor didn't get into specifics about what their leasing plan would be. He did say that they want to have a diverse assortment of retailers, from local folks to high-end luxury type establishments. He did mention that one of the things that the HP Village people said was they think there might be that some of the spaces are too large, and that they could be subdivided into smaller retail spaces. So, again, as far as their game plan for what they would do, he did say one of their top priorities would be to get after that Nordstrom site. And they do, obviously, because of what their experience has been in Dallas, they've got good contacts with some very prestigious retailers. Now, whether they'd want to come to the plaza, I don't know, but I have a hunch that at least they know who the right people are to call to tell them, hey, here's what we've got in Kansas City. Here's what the demographics look like. Here's what our plans are to make it a better place. You've been successful with us in Dallas. Maybe you'd like to give it a shot in Kansas City.
Perfect. So a lot of new details we're receiving now after that meeting, but we're also expecting to receive a lot more details in the coming year. Kevin, before I let you go, what are your final thoughts? What do you think about the meeting yesterday, especially after talking to Mayor Quinton Lucas?
Again, the mayor, everybody that's talked about these folks in Dallas have been extremely optimistic about both what they can, their real accomplishments and what their goals are. One of the things that, they've got some real ties to Kansas City. A couple of the members of HP Village Partners are descendants of the Hunt family, who own the Chiefs and certainly have a long and very positive history with Kansas City. So, it really gives you reason that after a decade or so of the plaza being owned by out-of-town firms that treated it more like a commodity, like part of their portfolio of shopping centers, these are folks who really know a little bit about Kansas City. They only own this particular shopping district in Dallas that has some very similar characteristics. So it seems like we've got some folks here who maybe they're not local owners, but they're the next best thing.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. As always, it is a privilege and an honor to
Oh,
learn more and to read more stories like this on KC Development. You can head over to City Scene KC, where Kevin Collison writes all of the stories, and he knows all of the
oh,
information, the inside. So thank you again, Kevin, and
thank
we
you.
will see you again in a few weeks. So thank you
Okay,
again.
you take care.
I think it's only fitting to leave with this live shot over